What's up, Guardians, and welcome back, Titans. I'm Profane, thanks for checking out the video. Whether you're a new light player or a battle-hardened veteran, you find yourself here because you're in need of a strong and reliable build to use here in Heresy. And today we'll be checking out an incredible Prismatic build that you'll be able to use to solo just about anything in Destiny 2 right now. You want to solo dungeons and Nightfalls, or maybe just speed run through Master Lost sectors, or maybe you need a build to get you through the new Rite of the Nine dungeon activities. Whichever the case, this will be an absolutely perfect build for you because we've got top tier levels of damage output getting matched with top tier levels of survivability. Today's build relies on the synergy that's created by two powerful exotic perks. The Spirit of Synthoceps and Spirit of the Assassin, which is a perk that would normally be reserved for hunters, but because of our exotic class item, we're able to combine these two. Just about every Titan who's ever played Destiny already knows the advantages of the Synthoceps, and when we have its Spirit active, we'll gain a 165% increase to the damage of our melee whenever we're surrounded by at least 3 enemies. This works with charged and uncharged melees, and it's going to work with every prismatic melee option. This also provides a 100% increase to glaive damage, which goes hand in hand with artifact mods like Hold the Line and No Bell, which will provide us with increased glaive damage and even health regeneration on rapid final blows. When Heresy released, Bungie slapped a big nerf on Consecration, and it now deals out much less damage whenever used against a single target. A lot of players expected this to be a really big setback for Prismatic Titans, but this continues to be an extremely powerful and viable option for Titans to use right now, especially with the Synthoceps. But you have to use Consecration properly, and that starts by having Frenzied Blades equipped. This way you'll get up to 3 consecutive Consecrations to perform. And keep in mind that we will have our Transcendence, and when that's active, we'll be dropping Consecrations all over the place. Since it deals less damage to single targets, you'll need to put more effort towards getting enemies bunched up together, and because the Synthoceps only provides its bonus whenever you are surrounded, you'll want to target the bigger enemies before you go after the rank and file ones. As we mentioned before, one of the most unique aspects of this build is the inclusion of Spirit of the Assassin. Whenever we perform a finisher or defeat an enemy with a powered melee, we will trigger a 5-second window of invisibility. This lets us disengage from our enemies immediately after coming in with a triumphant Consecration. Alongside the benefit of not getting shot at for a couple of seconds, this gives us a chance to regain health, reload our weapons, reposition, and re-engage. And if we're in an activity that has some mechanics to it, the invisibility gives us an opportunity to focus on those mechanics without getting shot at. Now that we've covered the basics, let's dig in a little deeper. When it comes to the rest of our Prismatic subclass, we have chosen to go with Knockout, which goes perfect with a melee-centric build. Triggering Knockout activates Amplified, and that provides us with a 15% bonus in damage resistance, which will stack on top of other resistance bonuses, which we'll talk about here soon. Whenever we defeat enemies with our powered or unpowered melee, we'll instantly regenerate health. This will be based on the rank of each enemy, giving us between 30 and 100 extra HP. This also triggers a damage bonus that will give our powered melee a 50% increase in damage, and our unpowered melee will gain a 100% increase in damage. And this will stack alongside the Synthoceps bonus. So just as an example, if our powered melee dealt 100 points of base damage, then the Synthoceps would cause it to deal 265 points. Knockout would then give that a 50% increase, bumping our total base damage to 397. So there's absolutely no reason to not equip Knockout whenever using Consecration. As far as grenade options go, we currently are equipped with Shackle Grenades so that we can suspend enemies, keeping them in place so that we can more efficiently pull off Consecrations. And Shackle Grenades will play off of our artifact's heavy focus on strained energies, but we'll talk more about that here soon. In terms of super, we will be going with either Thunder Crash, Blade Fury, or Glacial Quake. Each of these will have their own advantages based on what type of activities that we're in. If we need burst damage, then we're most likely going with Thunder Crash, but if we're handling champions and doing heavy ad clear, then we're going to go with Blade Fury or Glacial Quake. Our choice in super will have a direct impact on our survivability because we are using the Facet of Purpose with this build. This grants us with a matching elemental buff whenever we collect an orb, so whenever using Thunder Crash, this will give us bolt charges, which would help us deal out more damage, but it leaves us more vulnerable. But when using Glacial Quake, this will give us Frost Armor, and Woven Mail whenever using Blade Fury. Woven Mail is the better option in terms of survival, as it provides a 45% reduction to incoming damage. Faceted Protection will grant us with another bonus in resistance, providing us with a 15% bonus whenever we're surrounded. And whenever our Transcendence gets activated, that will increase to 32%. So between Knockout, Amplified, Faceted Protection, Frost Armor, and Woven Mail, it's going to take a lot to bring us down once we've got the train rolling. Faceted Dawn will grant us with Radiance after striking enemies with our Frenzied Blade, or our Consecration. That's going to be a 4-second buff that grants all of our weapons with a 20% increase in damage, along with the ability to pierce barrier shields. And with multiple melee charges available, we'll be able to easily prolong those benefits. Faceted Balance will boost the regeneration of both our melee and our grenade abilities. Whenever rapidly defeating enemies with light-based energies will generate 10% bonus melee energy, but when rapidly defeating enemies with strand or stasis energies will generate 10% extra grenade energy, significantly improving the uptime of both. The final fragment that we're using is Facet of Courage. This provides all of our light-based abilities with a 10% increase in damage, but that's only whenever they're used against enemies who are under the effects of a darkness debuff, which includes Sever, Suspend, Unravel, Slow, and Freeze. So as long as we continue to integrate strand and stasis energies into this build, we'll be able to give our consecrations even more bang for their buck, which is something to remember when you're choosing your weapons. We have several artifact mods that we could use with this build to be able to amplify its performance even further, but our selected options will change based on the activity that we're in and what weapons that we're using, so be ready to change this up quite a bit. If we're going hot and heavy with void weapons, then Volatile Marksman and Maligned Harvest will both need to be selected. This way we can trigger volatile explosions and weaken enemies. But if we're all loaded up with arc weapons, then we should consider using Dielectric, Photonic Flare, and Flashover. These would help us blind enemies to build up bolt charges faster and make them stronger. But if we've got mostly strand weapons equipped, then we need to be using Unraveling Orbs, Vile Weave, Horde Shuttle, and To Shreds. To Shreds is actually a very important mod to use with this build, as defeating severed enemies creates an energy spot, and when stepping into this, you and allies will gain Woven Mail. With the Vile Weave mod increasing the rate in which tangles are created and giving them the ability to sever enemies, this will give us an abundant source of instant damage resistance. Limit Break is another artifact mod that will serve us well, as it grants our super with a 30% increase in damage whenever we have a matching elemental buff active, which means that this will play off of our use of Facet of Purpose to give any of our 3 supers a big advantage, but I would only use this with Blade Fury or Thunder Crash. If we're not using Limit Break, it probably means that there's champions around, at which case we would change over to Defibrillating Blast. This triggers a bolt charge whenever we stun a champion. If we've got Flashover active, then we're also going to deal 150% extra damage out of every bolt charge that we create. Whenever bolt charges strike champions, all nearby enemies will become jolted, and in that process, we will gain 55 points of health back. But like I said before, this mod is only ever to be equipped whenever champions are present. We mentioned that the Synthoceps provides glaives with a 100% increase in damage, and through the use of Hold the Line and Nobel, we're going to have a lot of success right now out of running glaives. When Hold the Line is equipped and we get surrounded, glaives and heavy machine guns are going to restore 55 points of health. Glaives will deal 85% bonus damage, but that's only after blocking incoming damage. Rapid Final Blows with glaives create additional special glaive ammo. This pairs up really well with Rake Angle and Refusal to Call, but the Winter Bite is an absolute monster right now, and it's going to pair up so well with this build. This comes with a built-in ability to stun Overload and Unstoppable champs, and there's never a delay in the light attacks like you would see with a legendary glaive. Being able to block damage can really get you out of some dicey situations, especially when you're not able to trigger that invisibility. But there's other great exotics that we could use if you don't have Winter Bite. Salvation's Grip is another strong stasis option since it gives us a ton of huge crystals that are going to freeze enemies just before we come in with Consecration. This would also grant us with stacks of Frost Armor, helping us endure even more brutality. The Buried Bloodline would grant us with Devour, which would definitely help our survival, and it also weakens enemies, and it would play off of Volatile Marksman and Maligned Harvest. The Ergo Sum with Arc Conductor would be a solid bet to pair up with the Arc-centric artifact mods. This would surge enemies with extra lightning damage while giving you an overshield. There's also the Lord of Wolves, and it's going to flatten damn near anything from point blank range. So there's quite a few solid exotic weapons that you can rotate into this Prismatic Titan build. But at the end of the day, it's all about those consecrations. And thanks to the Spirit of the Assassins, you'll be more protected than ever as you throw yourself into chaos. With that said, I wish you all the best of luck throughout your journeys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the current state of Prismatic Titan, what your favorite exotic class item combinations are, and what your feelings about Edge of Fate are. Let us know down below. If you need help getting this build set up for yourself, then be sure to check out my Mobalytics and dim links, and I'll leave those down in the description. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.